Hello and welcome once again to Talking Sharks, coming to you this week from Stelfox Avenue, the home of Altrincham Kersal. So that priceless victory over league leaders London Irish on Friday night has set Philippe's men up for their biggest challenge to date against the European champions Munster. More on that later in the show, but first to a man who's had a change in fortunes over the last 18 months. He once graced this pitch as a youngster, but went on to be capped by England and the British Lions. After an injury-plagued campaign last season for the Sharks, he's back to his very best. 7 tries already this season. Mark Cueto's recalled into the England squad and says he's conquered his injury demons.
It's been going well. I think the sort of the last 12 months just been, completely plagued with injuries, and I didn't really get a decent run of games, and even the games that I was playing in, I wasn't fit. In hindsight, looking back, I was sort of convincing myself I was fit, but nowhere near. So, no, it's good, to get a bit of consistency, playing week in, week out, and a bit of faith back in my body. I believe I'm sort of over my injuries and stuff. So with that comes sort of confidence and form, and like you say, things have been going really well.
So it's not strictly true, because what I've read and heard before is that you didn't play rugby till you were 17, or competitive rugby. You played some form of rugby at Netherlands, didn't you? Did your dad take you down to the local club then?
Yeah, I was born in Workington, which again is just down the road, and with my dad still being heavily involved in rugby at that time, I was introduced to it at a young age, sort of 4 or 5. Pretty much from sort of 9, 10 through to 16, 17 was all football, really, football, athletics and everything else. And
you're a good footballer though, aren't you? Because everyone says, we've seen you doing kick-ups with a rugby boy, you've got the skills as a footballer.
I was alright. I was alright. I was never going to make anything of it. I think, which was probably one of the reasons that I turned back to rugby in a way. We did have my PE teacher at the time, was a big rugby fan, and he played at the weekends and stuff. So he tried to get rugby into the school, but
Lindsay Purcell was
again a teacher at the time, but a good family friend now.
Right.
He was a teacher at the time, but at the school, but I didn't actually get taught by him. A Welsh guy, obviously loves his rugby. Had played at a decent level, played for Pontypridd in his younger days. He came to watch this game. It was against the local school. I couldn't tell you.
Chapel.
Do you know that? Right. And all I remember is, out of probably the 15 on the day that played in the team, I reckon 4 of them were rugby lads.
Yeah.
And the rest of us were just footballers, just going for a bit of a crack. I obviously knew the basics, knew what was going on, but just played in this game and things went well. I don't know I think I scored a couple of tries or something, and Lindsay actually came up to me after the game and said, was I playing at a weekend for anyone? And I wasn't. So sort of lined it up, wrote a few letters of recommendation to a few various clubs, Sale being one of them, Sale sort of being the top of the pile.
We're talking, this is sort of 2000, 2001. It wasn't long after that you made your debut for Sale, down at Bristol, and you scored on your debut as well.
Yeah.
What are your memories of that day?
The pre-season, there's always 3 or 4 games in the pre-season, and I managed to get involved in the pre-season games, and the one, I can't remember, Swanee will tell you what the exact results were, but I think the game against Manchester I ended up scoring a hat-trick, and that was the week before the opening game of the season. So Jim Mallender, Steve Diamond were the coaches at the time, and luckily for me, they were prepared to sort of take a bit of a gamble. So I went down to Bristol for the first game of the season. We won, we turned them over down there, and I got a try as well. I think Stan scored as well. So it was a good day all round. That season, I think I ended up top try scorer in the Premiership. So, from sort of not really know where I was going at the start of the season.
You're a force in the sport all of a sudden.
To then, be topping that sort of table was unbelievable, really. And it was the end of that season that I went on my first England tour. We went over to Argentina. I didn't play in the test side. There was only one test, I think. There was one midweek game and one test side. I played in the midweek game and scored, but didn't get picked for the test game at the weekend. But it went well. And then it's one thing playing well and aiming to play for England when they're not achieving that much. You then maybe expect to get a chance. But when England were playing so well and everybody was playing well, Ben Cohen, Robbo, Josh Lucy, Dan Luger, these boys were flying. So you can't expect to be given regardless of how well I was playing, if those boys are playing well week in, week out, then you can't get an opportunity.
Between your sort of playing for England, you won a couple of Parker Pens.
Yeah.
The Guinness Premiership. What's your highlight? Is that got to be the GP, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. To win a Premiership for the first time as a player and for the club, it was the club's first time, was absolutely massive. Any silverware's important. It's a short sort of career, and you can quite easily find yourself at the end of a career having thoroughly enjoyed it and played well and played for England and done all these sort of things, but not actually have anything sort of tangible to get hold of. Yeah. So to win the Heineken, the Challenge Cups was good, but I think the big one to date is the Premiership. I think the Heineken Cup's the one that we're after, which is why I keep saying it. Fantastic
memories, and also that tour to New Zealand, British Lions. I mean, that's every boy's dream, isn't it? Your family must have been so proud of you, just thinking, God, it doesn't get better than this.
No, it was 2005, the summer, the tour, the New Zealand tour, but it was 2004 in the autumn when I first got capped. So I'd played 7 or 8 internationals. That was my debut season for England.
It's a quick route in, isn't it?
Yeah, but things went unbelievably well. I think I was probably on equal tries to games. So the season went brilliantly well. It couldn't have gone better. Played every autumn international, played every Six Nations international, 8, 9 caps, whatever, and as many tries. And then the Lions came around, and again I didn't get named in the initial squad. There was all the talk, because Clive was obviously involved. He'd never picked me for England when he was in charge for England, and I think one of the final games of the season, Ian Bolshaw got injured playing for Gloucester. So then I got brought into the squad and ended up going on a Lions tour, which resulted in a full cap in the final test. So it was a bit of a roller coaster.
We're obviously going to talk about the World Cup 2007. We'll cut to the chase. Stuart Dickinson, do you write him a Christmas card?
No chance. I get asked about it all the time.
He was the video ref, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So many organisations have said it was, it wasn't.
Yeah.
In your heart, what do you have an answer? Or do you...
Without a shadow of a doubt, it was. Yeah. Like I say, deep down, I still feel it was, and I think if it was any other game apart from the World Cup final that try to have been given, I think it was just the enormous sort of occasion that got to the decision. I think I remember sort of the following weeks coming home from the World Cup. There was games on Sky, Premiership games, and there was tries that were going to the video ref, and there was tries that were given that were nowhere near as obvious a try as what mine was that wasn't given.
Now, I've got a piece of advice for you. Don't let me speak to Steve Hanley before I interview you. This story about Stuart Turner and your Porsche is one of the greatest stories I've heard.
Yeah, it's good.
You were putting cakes in his bag, and how did he get his revenge?
We Rugby Club did they were sort of they do various different things each season, and this one it was probably 3 years ago now. They were going to the various different clubs in the Premiership, and they're asking a couple of players to show the Sky cameras around the training ground and the players and whatever else. So, cut a long story short, me and Stan got put in charge of it. So we were going around and we were sort of taking a mickey out of a few of the lads, and we showed the gym, we showed the training facility, and we showed the changing rooms. And in the changing rooms, a lot of the players, creatures of habit, have the same area and the same peg, even though there's no names or numbers. Yeah. They get changed in the same space every single day. So we had a little bit of a joke with Robbo, because obviously he's 5 foot tall, so we were taking the mix. So we managed to we borrowed some baby clothes off, one of the lads who's got a baby boy or whatever. So we've got these 6 months to 12 months, like little shirt and little trousers hanging on Robbo's peg. So we're like, this is where Robbo gets changed. So we went through 2 or 3 of the lads sort of taking the mick. We got to Stu Turner's peg, and we'd planted a load of... Stu's obviously played for England and been involved with England for a while, so he's got all the kit, and he went through a phase of turning up to training in his England kit all the time. So we hung a load of England kit on his peg, and then in his bag we put a load of cakes and sweets and all this sort of stuff, taking the mick out of him. So in return, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think any of the boys would sort of get revenge. About 2 weeks later, I'm on the golf course with Stan. We'd just got off the golf course, checked my mobile phone, and I've got about 25 missed calls. I'm thinking, what's going on here? Listen to the voicemails, and it's, you know, all these different guys, you know, inquiring about my car. And it turns out that he took a picture on his mobile of my car, run the Auto Trader, paid like 50 quid to advertise it in the Auto Trader, got the mileage, you know, put my mobile phone number down and everything. So I was getting phone calls off all these randoms about my car. So I then ended up ringing Auto Trader, explaining the situation, that one of the lads was taking the mick. It was actually my car, it wasn't for sale, but because it wasn't me that had put the advert in, there was no way that they could stop it, and they weren't legally allowed to tell me who it was, so I still didn't have a clue how to stop these idiots ringing me up, but it all came out and it all.
And you
got
still
sorted.
got your Porsche, have you?
No, I got rid of it.
Someone made you a good offer?
No, well, with all the injury problems that I had sort of 12, 18 months ago, it got that, like I was saying, it got that obsessive that we started to look at my lifestyle and what I was doing away from rugby, and it got to a point where I think one of the physios at the time had spoken to various Premiership football physios and a few of the clubs, you know, the Uniteds and the Cities locally, had sort of suggested that, you know, they try to push the players away from these sort of cars because of the seating position and stuff. So, you know, along with the car, I got rid of the car, got rid of my bed. All these different stuff to try and alter anything and try and give myself a chance of getting fit, and it was just. Well, I don't think it was. But you know, if it'd be tempting fate a bit to be sort of going back to something like that. So I'm driving more sensible cars at the minute.
A true legend of the game, and we all wish him well on another international journey. The latest Grubber challenge is on the way in the second half, and we look forward to Munster. But first, it's question time. We'll see you in 2.
When Munster played New Zealand in October 1978, what strange event occurred before kick-off? A. 2 Munster players were locked in the toilets. B. The souvenir matchday programme was sold out. Or C. The brass band played the Australian national anthem. So before the break, we asked, when Munster played New Zealand in October 1978, what strange event occurred before kick-off? The answer was B. The souvenir matchday programme was sold out, and due to the high demand, more had to be printed after the game.
Welcome back to Talking Sharks. Hayward Road earlier this week saw James Wade's Jets take on the Leicester Tigers in what was their final home fixture of the season. Oriel Ripple, Lee Thomas and Rudy Kyle were all on show, so we sent our man Dave Parkinson along to see how it all unfolded.
Rudy Keel, Lee Thomas and Oriel Ripple all played a lot of first team rugby for Sale. Vesty again, short pass, already cutting through on the angle is Andrew Forsyth. He's laid it off. Could this be the opening try of the game? Oh, he's managed to get it down. That is great play from Leicester. Quick support, and the first try of the game comes. Huge figure of Gaskell cleans up, and then it's worked back to Leck. Then it was like Michael Hills. He's recycled it back to Leck. Flat pass across for Atkinson. Clever ball for Keel. Keel inside the 22. Ball's back with Leck. Ducks under one. Oh, it's opened up for Leck. Well, he showed the dummy. Twinkle-toed his way through. The pace did the rest, and he finishes. So Dave Ward puts it to the front of the line out. Good charge there from Rob O'Donnell. Inside it comes now. Oh, the ball just goes to Johnny Kennedy. Kennedy up centre field. Has he got the pace to make it? Yes, he has. Straight between the post. It seemed to be a bit of a missed pass, but as soon as Kennedy got his hands on the ball, he was straight through. And that's the lead for the Sale Jets at the moment. And a penalty does ensue. Quickly taken by Harrison. Oh, and then the ball is knocked on by Vesty. Chance here. Oh, valiant running there from Kennedy. Can they keep the ball moving here? It's picked up. driven to the line, and over the line goes James Gaskell. It's just reward for an action-packed display from Gaskell. He's been the main go-to man at the line out for Sale, and he's come up with a super try off the back of that evasive running from Johnny Kennedy. And Glenn kicking the ball out. He's juggled and spilled backwards by Will Hurrell. Oh, interception! Interception pass, and you won't catch Nicky Royal. Royal races underneath the post. It puts on a superb gloss finish to what has been an excellent second half performance from this Sale Jets team. Leicester had to try and be ambitious. They had nothing to lose, and Sale had everything to win.
So Sedgley Park still lead the Grubber Challenge with one kick. This week it winds its way to North 2 West side Broughton Park. Can Kevin O'Brien's men set the benchmarker for the rest to follow and lift the illustrious trophy at the end of the season? Here's how they got on. So here are the rules of the Grubber Challenge. 10 players have one chance to grubber the ball from the corner flag through the posts. The ball can either go through the left or the right of the posts, and the ball must bounce at least once before going through the posts for it to be counted.
Mark Flynn, utility forward. JB, flanker. JB. Ronan O'Brien, fullback. Dave Kenny, wing. Paddy, Haribo O'Donnell, 12. Alan Hodkinson, centre. White Rooney, centre. Rich Jones, open side. Matt McConnell, number 8.
What's like here? Second row.
Matt Bill, second row.
Come on, you're over.
John Knight, second row.
England head coach Martin Johnson was in the stands to see Sale move up to 4th in the table with a brilliant win over London Irish last week, and confidence is high ahead of the Heineken Cup trip to Munster. We leave you now with a little from that win over the Exiles and the thoughts of Dwayne Peel, David Doherty and Kingsley Jones ahead of that must-win tie at Thomond Park. Join me next week from Ireland, where we see if the European dream continues.
Wherever you go, you've got to come away with something, and I think that's probably indicative of where we are as a side. Very competitive, and 1 point is the minimum requirement, and we've managed to pick up something in everything that we've played so far, and that's really important.
Yeah, the boys defended well at the end. It was we were under a bit of pressure, but everybody stuck in well and worked hard for each other, and thankfully we come away with the result.
We had opportunities toward the end to win the game. We created a few chances and we didn't take them, and in a league like this it's going to be very tough, and in a tight game like this there's going to be very few opportunities and you need to take them, and I think we learnt that tonight.
What was it like running by the tunnel here behind you? What was it like coming back?
It was funny. It was funny. I still hear a few fans and there, Sale fans. Oh, Elvis is back. And I was like just laughing.
Elvis lived.
Yeah, I was chuckling to myself and saying, "Oh, I remember that feeling." But no, it was good. It was good coming back, and it's good to see that Sale, obviously. The supporters have stayed here, and it's been really good. I mean, even with the loss of Whitey and Philippe and that, they're going. Hopefully Sale stay strong and the supporters stay with them, because Sale's a good team. They're a very good team.
It's nice to have a game that we're really looking forward to, and I mean that in terms of what an occasion it's going to be. We've got everything to gain, I think. We go there positively. We're under no illusion how tough it's going to be. It's going to be a massive occasion, and they're a great side, know how to win.
been fortunate and unfortunate sometimes to play against them, and they're a very good side, and it's a fantastic place to go and play in Thomond Park in Limerick, and it's a great place to play rugby, and we're looking forward to the game. We realise it's a huge game for us, so it's a very exciting prospect.
And it's a really good atmosphere to play rugby in. They've had a lot of history, they've had a lot of good wins there. I think there's only a handful of teams that have gone down there and won, but we're definitely looking to be one of those teams.
For anyone who hasn't been there, you can't explain it. You have to experience it, and we've got a lot of test match players in our team, but it'll be a big experience for them and a new experience to the ones who haven't been there before on Friday.
You got a bit of experience there, not the best memory. You went there with Wasps and lost narrowly last year. What were your memories from that one?
Yeah, I remember the atmosphere. It was fantastic. I remember back in my rugby league days, it seemed similar to that. But yeah, we lost narrowly. They played the game really well. They played the position really well, and they're a very good, well-rounded team. They know how to win big games. So if we go there, we're going to have to be spot on and make sure that we're really clinical in finishing our chances.
Their biggest asset probably is the forward pack, which is basically the Irish forward pack. People like Paul O'Connell or Carl Hearn, on the front row you've got likes of Hayes and Flannery, really, who don't get the credit probably they deserve in that pack.
This kicking silence that they've got. Did you experience that during the Wasps game? I mean, Charlie has mentioned it, that they're completely dead silent. Is that off-putting or is that encouraging? Can you make them concentrate?
I think it depends. For me, I think it's a brilliant sentiment to their crowd for respect. But I think for me, I'd rather be a kicker. I'd rather it be silent. It can be quite eerie because obviously they're making so much noise and then they're quiet. But just the respect that's there, and you're obviously going to have pressure in those games. But if it's silent, then you can have more concentration towards your kick, so it'd be perfect for me.
Is it all over if you lose?
Realistically, yeah. Let's be realistic. Munster have got Montauban away, which I think they're smart enough to win. Montauban won't make it easy for them, but it'll be interesting to see Montauban's selection. We're putting our everything on Friday night. We've got to go there and win.
There's all sorts of reports in the papers linking you with James Haskell. Of course, you're the man to ask about that. Has there been any contact? Do I need to kick my current flatmate out? Obviously he's a good friend of mine.
Well, it means I know you won't lie on TV. I mean, we would be interested in James Haskell. He's a top class player, young, he ticks all the boxes. He's English, he's international, and he gives you go forward, that's for sure. So he'd be someone we'd be interested in. We'll have to be mindful. I've got good players coming through, Carl Ferns, David Tate, James Gaskell's not ready yet, but he's coming through.
James Gaskell,
James Haskell in the same team. But those guys are coming through, and I can't block the avenue of those guys. It's very important. The academy is the key to this club, really, going forward. Of course, we'll be recruiting when we need to recruit, and Haskell is certainly someone any club in England would be interested in. But we'll see how it goes over the next few weeks and where we really feel we need to strengthen.